Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready.
We're back to SOTS Podcast. Social and political commentary. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That's always and forever. That's right.
Salt of the streets.
Another fantastic episode. Everyday Normal Person's Podcast.
Salt of the streets.
Upper left or the upper left? Just upper left.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready.
We're back to SOTS Podcast. Social and political commentary. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That's always and forever. That's right.
Salt of the streets.
Another fantastic episode. Everyday Normal Person's Podcast.
Salt of the streets.
Upper left or the upper left? Just upper left.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready.
We're back to SOTS Podcast. Social and political commentary. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That's always and forever. That's right.
Salt of the streets.
Another fantastic episode. Everyday Normal Person's Podcast.
Salt of the streets.
Upper left or the upper left? Just upper left.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready.
We're back to SOTS Podcast. Social and political commentary. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That's always and forever. That's right.
Salt of the streets.
Another fantastic episode. Everyday Normal Person's Podcast.
Salt of the streets.
Upper left or the upper left? Just upper left.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Let's get ready.
And we're back to SOTS Podcast. Social and political commentary. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That's always and forever. That's right.
Salt of the streets.
Another fantastic episode. Everyday Normal Person's Podcast.
Salt of the streets.
Upper left or the upper left? Just upper left.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Let's get ready.
And we're back to SOTS Podcast. Social and political commentary. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? That's always and forever.
Was the week of April 12th. That was the week before all adults became eligible for for vaccination. That was the week before. And then we know it takes 5 to 6 weeks for people to become, if they get the Pfizer and Moderna, become fully vaccinated. It was also, getting into the details, it was, I think Easter happened in March this year. The seasonal adjustments are a little funny within the BLS report.
Coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Let's get ready.
And we're back to SOTS Podcast.
Boom. We out here. We live. And it's just a Dawn solo shot, apparently, to start out
I
with.
didn't know you were going to do that. We're out here, live. Thank you, Salt of the Streets.
That is like, look,
Pre-show.
at the playback, that's perfect, though.
I didn't know you were going to do that. So we're out here. Thank you guys again for joining us very much. Salt of the Streets Pre-show episode 108. My name is Donovan.
I'm Colin.
We are happy to have you here. There's a tiny kitten playing in a bed in front of me, and it is adorable.
It's called motivation.
It's going to be a good day today. Yeah, it's going to be a great episode. We are going to cover a myriad of topics. We had some things planned, and then some shit happened. So we're going to talk about as much of all of that as we can, in no particular order. It's a grab bag show, kind of, but organized.
Organized chaos.
Yes. So today we will be talking almost definitely about what's going on in Israel and in Palestine and kind of the roots of that, because I don't really have much understanding about it. So it's going to be very, in the beginning, very entry level to help kind of everybody understand, because I don't think many people my age or even your age understand.
Because this thing goes back to the world wars and the drawing of lines, and even before that.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look into that. We're going to do the best that we can. We are going to talk about some masking updates from the CDC and our own state, and we're also going to talk about some things that Governor Ron DeSantis did like 2 weeks ago, because all these things kind of blend together. Hilarious. She just fought in the chair. We're going to be talking about the Tim Scott crime bill compared and contrasted with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Is that what it's called?
The Justice and Policing Act.
Yes. So we are going to talk about those things, and then also the potential TRIPS waiver, I believe that it's called, for the COVID vaccine, to send the recipe around the globe to allow people to make a generic in places like India and so on to attempt to help with COVID, so that maybe one day they can also not have to wear masks inside of a store.
In hopes that they could do that. Yes.
And hopefully one day. But we'll see.
We will see. So it's been a week. It's like the week after our last doubleheader was somewhat quiet. And it feel like we paid for it 2 times over this week. I feel like right after our doubleheader last week, it all started to snowball down, and it was just one thing after another.
Yeah.
It's rough out there. The crypto market took a dive this week. That was fun. It was after the SNL stuff with Elon, because we had talked about a little bit during the doubleheader on that. Because I think
I still haven't. Have you watched it?
I've watched like
just clippies,
skips, or the certain skits.
Yeah. And
it's just confirmed to me that I don't need to be watching Saturday Night Live, because it's just not. I'm just not into it.
She's gonna try and scratch up my leg. I can feel her pawing at me from the.
Oh yeah, she started this really new fun thing where she thinks that she can climb people.
Yeah.
And so she'll just jump, launch, and then like last night, I was over cooking dinner, and she's learned now to like get up on something medium height, and launch herself directly at my back.
That does
and then
not
just stick there.
Yes.
Oh God!
I told you, Jordan genuinely considered getting rid of Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was one time where I had my feet up on the table. He tried to walk across my legs, fucking fell off, and just all the way down.
Oh.
Right across from my leg. Oh yeah.
This is why I'm glad I was wearing ripstops this week, because if there's one thing a ripstop pant would be good for, it's those little demon claw razor blades that they have at the ends of their feet.
Yeah, you just give it, like a year, and then maybe she'll start to chill out.
Oh,
you might have a cat that's crazy forever. That happens sometimes
very true.
also.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to wait and just put that out.
For the
Honestly, fuck a kitten. So you just have to, you just got to wait it out and see what's good. So
the laser pointer is key.
Hopefully she survives.
If I'm like chilling at the end of the night on the couch trying to watch a movie before bed, and she just gets this last, it's usually between like 8 and 9, she gets super rambunctious.
Yeah.
And so then she'll start jumping on things.
Chewing the Constitution.
Eating the Constitution.
How dare you?
You communist. My cat is a communist, Donovan. She wants to eat the Constitution. Either that or she thinks it's so delicious she has to intake eternally.
The red kitten.
Yeah, the red kitten.
Yeah.
But yeah, the laser pointer is super awesome, because I can just be chilling there while she's running around. If she tries to get all hyphy, I just run her around to the opposite side of the room, and then she climbs on something else for a little while.
Speaking of socialism, Colin.
Oh, yes.
Let's start it hard. So I watched 2 things this week that renewed my fear in communism and socialism.
Oh, good, good.
So the first one, I rewatched Chernobyl, right? As you've seen, if anybody has checked out the the editions of What's Don Watching that we've been doing on Instagram this week, that was one of the things that I watched, and some random person that's never listened to the show before guessed it. So I did send out a shirt to Chris something in California. Lynch in California. So
shout out, Chris, if you're watching.
Hopefully, you've received your shirt. If not, then you will receive it next week. Oh, I guess I just sent it out like 2 days ago. So you will receive it early next week from Bennick.
Yeah.
I wrapped it just in some paper for my table. I put like a business card or 2 in there and a note that was like, thanks for, whatever. Thanks for playing, or like, hope you enjoyed the show. Something. Yeah. I wrote some things in there. So we did that. If you guys haven't checked that out, go over to our Instagram. Make sure you're watching on the stories during the week. I will be posting clips of things that I watched. A little game. I'm going to start giving away prizes. Apparently, we're gonna see what we got going on. So,
I got enough cool crap around here. We can have tons of giveaways.
Yeah,
this is perfect.
This is how we're gonna do it. Give the people what they want.
Exactly. I got about 10,000 Magic cards up there. If you guys are into Magic, you could have some of those.
Got all these unopened movies sitting around here.
Exactly.
Like,
I got some double movies. We're good.
Yeah. So tune in for the magical giveaways that we're gonna have going on here.
And let us not forget who shared your story.
Yes.
The other day.
Yeah. So that's how that dude found us. Actually, was that Sauger from Rising, yeah, shared, because the first edition that I did was an episode of the Realignment podcast, which is another podcast that he does.
Good
with a guy named
podcast.
Marshall Kostoff. It's a great podcast.
I kind of forgot about it until that post went out. I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. And it's a solid podcast.
Great podcast. Huge fan. So I would definitely recommend that. Yeah, so he shared one of the stories he did, which I thought was hilarious. I told you, because it's like the second or third slide in a 4-thing story post, and so it's completely out of context. So I'm like, there's going to be all these people that listen to this and have no idea what I'm talking about. So I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, this dude Chris found us from Saga sharing the story, and we got pretty good traffic on the story that day. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
So especially for Salt of the Streets, we got like 100 views or something like that.
Woo!
For Salt of the Streets story, that's really good.
That's
so,
breaking the glass ceiling, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm happy to see that. Yeah, it was a good deal. So Chernobyl was one of the things that I watched, which if you guys have not watched the series, HBO is fantastic. I would obviously recommend it.
I had forgotten you watched it once already.
Yeah, this was the second time that I watched it. Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
God.
Not only what radiation does to people and the fact that we know like nothing about it still, but just like the deception and the lies and all of the intentional fucking people over and knowing things were broken and like, it's fine. Like it's
fine.
probably not going to happen, so let's just not worry about it.
Yeah,
Like
it's no problem.
Yes.
It is no problem.
And then I watched Superman Red Sun, right? And so
Gonna have to Google this one.
So I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's like an hour and a half long or something like that. It's a full theatrical movie, right? I literally cannot recommend it enough. So it's about if Superman was born in the Soviet Union instead of America, or like landed in the Soviet Union instead of America. And so he lands
Oh,
there.
he's got the crest on his chest.
Yes. So
Oh,
the
good
movie
Lord.
starts in like 1947 or something like that. Joseph Stalin is still in power, and he ends up.
Jason Isaacs plays Superman.
This is an amazing
Bro.
movie. I'm telling you, this movie's incredible.
Who else
He
is up in here?
is raised
Amy
like,
Acker.
he's raised like almost as like Stalin's son, but he becomes just like a propaganda piece. Like there's a point in which he comes to America. The Soviet Union downs, spoiler alerts, downs one of their own satellites over Metropolis.
Ooh.
So that Soviet Superman can go and save America from this satellite, just to like show them, because they released footage of him and America didn't believe that he existed. The world didn't believe that the footage was real of him throwing tanks and shit like that. So Soviet Union is like, fuck you, we'll show you. So they send him down there, and he saves Metropolis from this satellite, and then speaks to Lois Lane for a few minutes. And Lois Lane,
Does he have an accent?
oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so Lois Lane is like asking him his name, and he's like, no, this was later in the movie. But anyway, he says it's Superman. Like he doesn't have a name. He's like, when I became Superman, like that's it. I don't have a
I'm
name.
just Superman.
Yeah. At least in America, regardless of whether or not it was his secret identity, he had Clark Kent. Like he had an identity other than that. Superman in Soviet Union is just Superman. Yes, and so he ends up killing Joseph Stalin, just vaporizes him with his fucking eyes, and then runs the Soviet Union for decades. For fucking decades. Yeah. Oh, it's incredible.
Is it any better, or is it just as
Yeah,
bad?
they expand. They get like way bigger. I mean,
Oh,
like
boy.
the Soviet Union gets way bigger. They end up, and this doesn't ruin any of the movie for me. I would still recommend everybody go and watch it. He restarts the Korean War and ends it in 3 hours. Goes through and just dominates everybody and just unites Korea under the Soviet Union. Yeah, so he does that in a couple of different places.
Interesting.
It is savage as fuck. Yeah, when he talks to Lois Lane, she gives him this file. Lex Luthor becomes the president of the United States. And he's still in America. And so Lex Luthor gives Lois Lane this file, the secret Soviet file, to give to Superman. And so she's talking to Superman about the war camps that are in the Soviet Union, and like all this stuff. And he's like, no, Joseph Stalin would never do that. Like, he loves the Soviet Union. So she's like, oh, hey, check out this fucking, this file. So he flies to the Soviet Union, flies to one of these locations. There is bunkers there. The camp is underground, underneath bunkers that are lead lined so that Superman can't see them. And he goes down there. I almost cried at one.
Oh,
It's so
man.
savage. He goes down there, and there's children, and women and all this shit down there. And there's this little kid, and he's fucking dirty, and he's starving. And Superman comes up to him, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And blah, blah, blah. And the kid says, "They say that you can hear a leaf from a mile away, and you couldn't hear our screams."
Oh.
And you're like, "Oh no!" That's when Superman kills Joseph Stalin. It's absolutely savage. I cannot recommend this movie enough, even
Oh
with
my
those things
gosh.
I'm telling you.
Any other superheroes make an appearance? Looks like maybe Batman.
Okay, so I have to bring this up with you because Batman shows up in the Soviet Union, right? Explain to me how you have a billionaire in the Soviet Union.
You don't.
You don't.
Unless
That's what
he's a
don't.
leading party member.
And he's not. At least they don't provide that backstory, so I guess that he could be. But I don't know how a leading party member is going to be Batman and no one knows about it.
Oh shit, Wonder Woman from the looks of it.
Yeah, Wonder Woman is in there. She ends up teaming up with Superman for a certain period of time.
Jesus,
man. I'm telling you. Green Lantern is in this movie.
Oh,
the
that's
Green Lantern
that's too bad.
is the head of a brand new section of the military under JFK because Lex Luthor finds out a way to reverse engineer the Green Lantern ring and make more. And so Hal Jordan is the commander of a Green Lantern section of the military. He leads a squadron of Green Lanterns over the Soviet Union to try and destroy Superman. This movie's great. This movie is
my God.
fucking great.
And from a quick Google search, it looks like you can stream it from HBO Max.
That's
and
where I
it's
watched it.
Also available for rent purchase on
Yes.
YouTube and Amazon Prime.
Can't recommend it enough.
I'm watching that, man. That
it
sounds
was
just too
so
wild.
Good. It was so good.
Oh man.
And it was actually well written, and like the political speeches that are made, you're like, God, I wish that politicians spoke like this. They're so good. Yeah, and because it goes across decades, there's like a handful of different presidents that you see.
Oh,
You know,
that's
JFK
wild.
and shit like that. JFK is the one that gives Hal Jordan, or like tells Hal Jordan that he wants him to be the Green Lantern. And
That's funny. Green
fucking
Lantern
great.
reminded me. I watched both the Deadpool movies throughout the last couple weeks. I forget how great those movies are.
yeah,
Ryan Reynolds is like perfect
yes.
when it comes to Deadpool. It's so good.
So one of the things that scared me about this is why we talked about this. One of the things that scared me about this is when Superman is 12 years old and then he first like exposes his powers. It's in this Soviet farm where all these kids are gonna beat his ass, and this girl saves him, right? And she's like, "You have to fucking, stand up for yourself," and blah 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 blah. And he's like, "Oh, I was afraid that I was gonna hurt them," and so he flies, and I was all, and she like, the first thing she says, she's like, "You have to give these powers to the state." Like, that's horrifying. She's a child. She's a child, and the first thing is like, you have to tell the government. Like, you have to tell the
You
government.
have to tell the government.
Horrifying, dude.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
that sounds real close to where we're coming.
Superman ends up taking his dissenters and instead of putting them at work camps, Brainiac attacks the planet, right?
Mhm.
Brainiac, the bad guy, and Brainiac's like part robot, so he takes Brainiac, reprograms him to work as an AI for Superman, and then has Brainiac put computers in these people's brains, so they have to listen to what Superman says.
Oh my God.
Yes.
The brain chips, bro.
Yes, and you can
Oh.
it's like it takes up their eye, like you can see it. It's like, not even like hidden. He's like, these motherfuckers did
A
not
whole
listen.
monocle.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
bad.
God. Well,
It's
that's
bad.
exciting. I appreciate that because that's gonna be a good one to watch.
And then Red Dawn. So 3 things I forgot. Red Dawn. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And I was watching that, and I told you I know it wasn't real, but just people getting lined up, groups of kids and young adults getting lined up and just mowed down with machine guns. I texted her and I was like, I know this is real, but fuck communists. Like that's like just fuck communists because that's crazy. That's just a horrible thing.
Well, the best part is when they first drop down, right? When the
Yes.
the Reds first invade this small town in what is
In
it, Colorado.
schools and shit.
I can't remember.
I think so.
But they come in, they drop it into the school, and they like murk all these teachers and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like,
they
what?
just start
They're going
unloading
hard.
into a school. Like
Man.
there are children in the classrooms,
Yup.
man. They don't give a fuck.
Patrick Swayze,
Yeah.
C. Thomas Howell, Lee Thompson,
Sheen?
Charlie Sheen.
Yes.
Oh, Jennifer Grey. Yeah, that movie, man, fantastic.
Great
It's
movie.
1984.
The OG Red Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Not the remake.
Yeah, we can pretend that remake never happened.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Please.
It's very not good.
Yeah, 2012. Oh, that was a bad year for movies.
With Hemsworth.
Yeah. Oh, I hate when they do that, man.
You can make it so good.
You could.
know? Like, you could make it so good if you wanted to.
I have a feeling it'd be hard to get funding from China to make a good Red Dawn, though.
Yeah.
Because
I think
wasn't
they ended
it
up
China
making
in the new
Korea.
one?
I think they ended up making it Korea.
Korea.
And I think that's how they, maybe. I don't know. You still have the IMDb up, but I bet it says when,
I'll pull it right back up.
when X people. It's funny, the first thing comes up is Letterkenny.
Hey,
You know.
we watched a little bit of Letterkenny around here.
North Korean soldiers. Yeah.
North Korean soldiers.
There you go.
Imagine that.
Yeah, so China's not even involved in it. And in the first one, it's mostly like Cuba, Russia.
Yeah.
I think China is there a little bit, but the vast majority of it is Cuba and Russia.
Yeah.
Those are like the main people that are there. There's a lot of Spanish being spoken, you
Yep.
know, and a lot of obviously
I remember
Russian.
that now.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. That's
Can't recommend it enough.
That's wild. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that. The end with the helicopter chase. I mean,
Fuck yeah.
bro, just a great movie
Yes.
all around.
Yes.
Great movie.
It's crazy.
Oh, that's good.
So let's talk about, unless you have something that you want to wait. First, let me ask you, what did you eat today before we got here?
Bacon, eggs, and toast.
There you go.
Some nice that Seattle sourdough.
Okay.
Yummy.
So Colonial Pipeline, because we talked about this
Yes.
in the doubleheader last week, right? You brought up.
Yes.
I had not heard about it yet.
Yeah, it just happened. I think that
Like
it was
that
Friday.
day, yeah.
Fr-
So
yeah.
so the day before it had happened. So the Colonial Pipeline apparently now is up and running,
Yes.
from what they say.
Yes. Colonial Pipeline, the
They
company.
did pay the hackers.
They paid the
Okay.
nearly $5 million ransom.
Okay, so when I was watching the press briefing, right, Jen Psaki was refusing to say whether or not Colonial Pipeline had paid the hackers. She wouldn't say. And
All of a sudden,
she,
the sanctity of private industry is very important to them.
she was getting all of these questions about, like, why are you not commenting on it? Like, if your policy, if the FBI's recommendations, if everyone's policy, the unwritten government policy, because you can't really say that, is don't pay ransom if it's requested.
Yeah.
Then why would you not call these people out if they're going to pay the ransom? You know? And
Yeah.
she's like, oh.
Yeah.
So I have something here about why she said that. So, no comment on if Colonial paid ransom regarding. Oh, thank you very much. Regarding not commenting, FBI says don't pay ransom. Private companies can do what they want. So that's what it was. Yeah, it was just like the FBI's recommendation. Obviously, is not to pay ransom. We're not gonna tell private companies what they can and can't do, and we don't think it to be necessarily effective to be calling people out from the podium. you know?
Really?
Which seems really weird.
That seems like a 180 on their
Yes.
standard policies as of recently.
Seeing as just like, I don't know, maybe I almost said 2 episodes, but, but like 2 briefings before that, she was talking about, and which I guess to her credit, she didn't name any specific companies, but she was talking about how a few select corporations had made an inordinate amount of money over the last year, and maybe that was a good place to look to get revenue from, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So,
They've made a bunch of money. Maybe we should go after them and steal it.
so, and the hackers at this point appear to be based out of Russia, correct?
That's what all indicators point to.
Yes.
Biden
And
actually has a meeting scheduled to talk to Putin about
Yes.
such things here next week.
She was also asked if the Colonial hackers are Russian, are we going to react to something? Are we going to do something about it? You know? And all she really had to say was like, we aren't there yet. Like we just aren't at a point. This was on the 13th that she said that, so that was today.
'Cause I believe the
That's
group's name
2
was
days ago.
Darksiders.
Darkside.
Darkside.
Yeah, which is the name of a DC supervillain. I don't know. And
Ooh.
the way that it's spelled, because I thought it was SEID. But no. So they're just hackers.
SEID.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hacking group, and they believe they operate out of Eastern Europe or Russia. And at that point, you know, especially when you get into the Balkan states and you get close to Russia and stuff like that, a private hacking group might just be, you know, they won't be officially a state-sponsored group,
Right.
but they may. Russia might be overlooking what they're doing, or they might
Yeah.
just be like, hey,
I was
whatever.
just going to say,
don't talk about it.
from what we know about Russia, the likelihood that this group is operating with no knowledge from the Kremlin or the Russian government as a whole is
Slim.
very,
Probably slim.
very unlikely. Yeah, so I do find that very interesting. And we've seen, like, in the 2016 election,
Yep.
there were Russian, what do they call them, troll farms.
Yep.
Bless you, Mama. Good Christ. They called troll farms, they called them,
Mm-hmm.
based out of Russia that were funded by the Kremlin, but obviously were not government facilities. They were
Yeah.
through the Russian equivalent of LLCs, whatever the fuck they call them there. Just seed shadow companies. What
Yeah,
am
shell
I-
companies.
Shell company. That's what I almost said. Yeah, seed companies is what I was going to say. That's
Ooh.
not it. But
Sell.
no,
I like where we're going with that. They all kind of work.
it's a shell corporation. Yeah, so I would be surprised, like I said, if the Russian government had no knowledge of this at all.
Yeah.
There was some question of, like,
We just had that massive solar winds hack too.
yes,
That
and
kind
there
of
was
points that direction as well.
some question in this line of questioning about, like, what do they call it? Nord Stream 2. Like, are you gonna maybe do something about Nord Stream 2, or like and they were like, we continue to believe that Nord Stream 2 is a bad deal, but we don't have anything to announce at this point of,
We're just
attacking
covering our
the
ears, and
pipeline.
closing our eyes.
And for those who don't know, because I had to look it up this morning, Nord Stream 2 is a pipeline running from Russia to Germany.
Yep.
What sources are indicating Russian hackers did it? I don't know off the top of my
I think it's just the
head.
fact that they've more or less traced it to that dark side, and they believe, the FBI believes, that they operate out of Eastern Europe and parts of Russia.
Yeah. So that's just what
And at the end of the day, they don't know because the FBI is really not that super involved. I
yeah.
mean, apparently, yeah, because I was listening to something earlier today from Psaki talking about how the FBI is concerned about it, and Biden passed a executive order about strengthening our infrastructure security, and that we need, the FBI is going to be involved in that.
Yes.
At this point, it's all kind of indirect leads, probably.
yeah.
When it comes to hacking, it's these hacker groups they're not stupid. They might have they might be putting some fake fingerprints on their IP addresses or whatever it is to make it look like it was Russians. I mean, who knows?
So this is I just DuckDuckGo'd this, Zeke,
Yeah.
so just so you know. So the first thing that came up was a Newsweek article, and the headline is, "What is DarkSide? Russia-linked hacker group behind Colonial Pipeline shutdown." So I'll read this a little bit. A cyber hacking group has been accused of being behind the ransom attack that shut down a major U.S. oil pipeline over the weekend. A brief statement Monday, the FBI named DarkSide ransomware as being responsible for the compromise of the pipeline overseen by Colonial Pipeline, which has caused a disruption. We continue to work with the company and our government partners in the investigation. Let's see. I'm trying to see where it says anything about being Russian. We're apolitical. Don't participate in geopolitics. This is from DarkSide. Our goal is to make money. Want to encrypt everything. What is DarkSide? DarkSide is a relatively new group that since August 2020 has used ransomware cyber attacks to hack various companies in the U.S. and Europe. They've attempted to extort companies with threats, for instance, of leaked personal data. The
Ooh.
group claims to give part of the money it makes to charity organizations. The hacking group runs a quasi-professional operation with its website having press room mailing list.
All right, let's get on that list. I'm just going to
Yeah,
search
this doesn't
darkside.com.
say. BBC previously reported that some charities have refused donations after realizing it was ransom money. Let's see. President Joe Biden told the reporters on Monday that while there was no evidence that Russia is behind the pipeline attacks, there is evidence that the actors' ransomware is in Russia. So,
Yeah, and it's
and
kind of
again, I don't, because he said that, I want to be clear.
Mhm.
I'm also, I think we're also not saying that Russia, we don't have proof of
No.
that.
That's what it
the,
really sounds like. It doesn't
that's
sound like
the
anybody has any
assumed-
proof.
Yeah. Let's see. So this is an article. The second one is from NBC News. Colonial Pipeline hack claimed by Russian group DarkSide spurs emergency order from White House. So it sounds like this is going to be based off of that same information of just them saying that the ransomware is based in Russia.
Yeah, see, that's
Which doesn't necessarily indicate that they're a Russian group
No.
with everything that we know from VPNs and everything. So that's very interesting.
yeah, especially when you think of like a sophisticated hacking group. What makes you think that they're actually going to let you know where they're actually at?
The FBI confirmed Monday that the culprit is a strain of ransomware called DarkSide, believed to be operated by a Russian cybercrime gang referred to by the same name. The FBI said that, quote, the DarkSide ransomware is responsible for the compromise of the Colonial Pipeline networks. We continue to work with the company and our government partners on the investigation. So
It's so hard to, with the last 4
especially
years.
because they're claiming to be apolitical. This is the same quote. We are
Yeah.
apolitical. We do not participate in geopolitics. We do not tie us with a defined government and look for other motives.
Yeah, they're kind of a tech-based Robin Hood type of organization.
Like we have seen a similar thing. We've seen similar things from Anonymous, and we just saw a video on the Dark Horse podcast that they played from whatever that group is in Portland, that doxed Ted Wheeler, and we're talking about doing a bunch of other shit. That they made a video of, we can't be defined,
who
we're
was
all
that?
part of different shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was just in the last 2 live streams that they did. Maybe last week, maybe the week before. Yeah, they played a video from Portland where that group doxed Ted Wheeler, the mayor of Portland.
Yeah.
So we've seen this thing before. So that's an interesting point, Zeke, and I appreciate you bringing it up to force us to clarify ourselves that we should not be attributing this to Russia just because Joe Biden
they
says that
say it.
they're a Russian. Right.
Because
So-
I mean, I have a little bit of like I'm torn, right? Because we know the nation of Russia, their government they're rather nefarious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the nerve gas or the nerve agent attacks and the assassinations, and
A different
you
group
know.
recently broke into Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department and began leaking extremely detailed and personal files on officers. A third stole files from a major Apple supplier based in Taiwan and released previously private specs for Apple products.
oh, great.
So
This is great. So
that was just
Yeah.
to give to your example. You can
and it's
continue.
just over the last 4 years, it's coming from one particular side of the political ideologies. It's just Russia's responsible for everything. And so when people come out and say, well, it's probably tied to Russia, I instantly hesitate in believing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know there's a lot of stuff goes on over there, and especially in the hacking community, for lack of a better term. And so it's like you got to take it with a grain of salt, but at the same
Yeah.
time, there's probably some kind of merit to it.
So let's continue on, right?
Yes.
Many Russian cyber gangs work as independent operations, though they are sometimes recruited to work for Russian intelligence, and sometimes recruited is a hyperlink. So I'll open that in a new tab, and this is from the Justice Department. Actually,
Ooh, hot
the
dog.
U.S. charges Russian FSB officers and their criminal conspirators for hacking Yahoo and millions of email accounts.
Mhm.
So that is
Track
a
record.
briefing from the Justice Department. To work for Russian intelligence, and they generally avoid attacking Russian targets. Brent Calloway, an analyst at the cybersecurity company Emisoft, who tracks ransomware, said there were signs in DarkSide's malicious software that it was meant to hit targets outside Russia and Eastern Europe. He noted that software is coded to not work against computers where Russian or one of the several other Eastern European languages are set as the default. Quote, DarkSide doesn't eat in Russia, Callow said. It checks the language used by the system, and if it's Russian, it quits without encrypting. So, again, that doesn't say that they're based in Russia. However, it certainly seems to indicate that they have some involvement with an Eastern European country
Yep.
to keep them out of there.
Yeah, you
right?
don't
Or
want to shit
some-
in your own backyard, right?
An Eastern European power, right? So I do find that very interesting, as we said before, because our previous statements are unchanged. We have seen similar things like this happen from Russia in the past.
Yeah.
And certainly, if something like this was happening in Russia, the government knows about it. So
Yeah.
with those, and if they know about it, then they're going to say, listen, do what you do, but don't do it here.
Yep.
You know, because Russia doesn't really give a fuck. You know,
No.
what are the people are doing around the globe? It's really so it's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
Very interesting.
And of course, the fallout from that has led to massive gas outages and gas shortages on the East Coast.
We were just
sounds
talking
like-
about here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Georgia got hit pretty hard with it. Carolinas,
Tennessee.
Yeah, a lot of people. I got a picture of Wolf Blitzer that I saw on Twitter here. Wherever he's at, let me go full screen here. Wherever he's at, he's running out of gas apparently.
They're based in Atlanta, right? Because he's CNN.
Oh yeah. CNN,
so
based out of
it's
Atlanta.
based out of Atlanta.
So that would totally make sense.
And I have another one here from Mayor.
I always
Mayor
forget they're not out of New York. It just seems like they should
Yes.
be, but they're
There it is. Mayor Pete said on the 12th when
Go
he
Mayor
was
Pete.
in. Oh, if that's just
This is all Mayor Pete's fault.
Pete
He's
Butt.
the
He said that the Colonial Pipeline shows U.S. infrastructure is a national security issue.
Yeah.
So they are definitely using this, or at least partially using this event to
Push the infrastructure bill.
help fuel the infrastructure bill.
God.
They were asked. Jen Psaki was asked last week about confusion in the timelines that they're laying out and the organization of their priorities. You know, so when Joe Biden was asked, like, everything's a priority. This.
Everything.
But I got a list. So Jen Psaki said the same thing, and so excuse me. So she's asked, you're saying that, infrastructure is a priority, and like the Families Act is a priority, the Jobs Act, these are the priorities, but you said, and Joe Biden said that he wants to see movement of the Justice and Policing Act by Memorial Day, but these other things you don't expect until June. And like, so how do you align these things if you're given these contradictory timelines and expectations for progress? If these did not have an answer, same thing. Well, it's all a priority. We just have to organize, and people come into the table, and this and this and this, and we laid out what we want, and we'll see what happens. So
yeah, he gave the GOP a deadline of Tuesday to come back with something to bring to the table on the infrastructure talks.
They were in the White House this week.
Yeah.
A group of bipartisan congressmen and senators were there. I don't know exactly who was there. I don't have.
I think
that
it was
list, but
Steve Scalise, Kevin McCarthy, and the new rising star. What's her name now?
yeah, yes,
What the hell's her name? now?
Stephanie something, right?
It sounds like Stephanie. It's like
But it's not.
some Stefanik.
Elise Stefanik.
Elise Stefanik. There it is.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was kind of a rising star during the tail end of the Trump era.
Yes, during I believe the impeachment trial.
Yes, that's really when she started to rise to power. And now that Liz Cheney's been
I have some Stefanik
pulled out,
notes.
good.
Yeah.
I really hope so. But
Not
yeah,
now. I mean, in the past, I have them from her making good
during
points
the
and doing
impeachment
shit.
area
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
I'm sure I can find them.
Yeah, lots come out about her over this last week because she's essentially, it looks like they're trying to make her the replacement for Liz Cheney now they pulled her out of power. Which is, a whole interesting thing all in itself. GOP going through a straight internal civil war,
Yeah.
which is just sad to see on top of everything else. But yeah, they met with them earlier this week and did a disgusting little interview on, I think it was Hannity afterwards, talking about, Hannity was like, so how was, I mean, when you think about meeting with Trump and you think about meeting with President Biden, like, what are the differences between the two men? And he's just trying to say, like, was he there? Was he all together?
Yeah.
And Kevin McCarthy didn't sugarcoat it. He was like, well, I mean, he was there, and he was, we were talking about this, that, and the other thing. And that's why Adderall was trending on Twitter for a little while, by the way.
Word.
Because all the other people that were in the comments and stuff talking about, Trump, of course, he was all go, because he was snorting Adderall, blah,
I was
blah,
just
blah.
gonna say, you got to wonder, and not that Joe Biden has the same vim and vigor of Donald Trump because he doesn't.
Yeah, he
But-
definitely does not.
But the fact that he's doing anything for all day, you know,
Should be a small W.
I just don't know of like many 80-year-old men that are. The only other dude I know Joe Biden's age that's doing that is Mr. Campbell, my fucking neighbor. That's the only other dude I know that's doing that, and he's not doing a president's work.
No.
Not to belittle what he's doing, because he takes care of his entire house by himself. He resided his entire house all by himself.
Straight up
It
Gran
took him-
Torino style.
Took him all goddamn summer, but he fucking did it.
Oh, yeah.
He did it all by him goddamn self. He was out there doing something on his pathway yesterday, laying on the ground, working.
Dude.
I don't know what he's doing.
Just working.
Coveralls and a big old hat, you know.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
I don't know. Like I said, he doesn't have the same vigor of Trump, but I have to assume that Joe Biden is on some type of something as well, just to be operating for. I couldn't do that. I can't live like that.
No.
I don't know how anybody lives like that without drugs. You have to be on drugs if you're doing that.
You got to be, because you're always working. I mean, you see the toll it takes on people as they come out the back end of a presidency. They age exponentially. And, I mean, when you're 80, I don't know how you can do that job effectively at 80. It just seems wild.
I started waking up at 3, right? And, like, if I go to bed later than 10, like, I'm, like, struggling the next day, you know? So I just don't understand how anyone does
Yeah.
that, and then I guess this is how you get the government you get, is when
Yeah.
you're like, just figure it out. Just do
figure it out.
Yep. Do it. Still take time off. Still do stuff that you want. Have a good time. But do
Sure.
it. Figure it out. Just run the whole country.
It's
It'll be
not a
fine.
big deal.
You know? You
Especially
can do it.
when
you're
you-
one person.
Yeah. I mean, if the presidency,
Ignorance.
if a
Why do we do
president
this?
actually did if they followed the job description that's laid out in the Constitution, wouldn't have to work as much, right? Like a hell of a lot less than they do now.
A lot more chill time.
But when you're essentially acting as the de facto benevolent dictator in chief,
Yes.
you're running everything all the time. You know, talk more about that, I think, in the main show when we're talking about masks and things.
Yes.
But in the meantime,
Yes.
Donovan, I was going to ask you, all these cool new things that you're doing on the Instagram and stuff like that. Where can people find these things?
Yes, you can find all these things, obviously, on our Instagram at Salt of the Streets. We have our YouTube, if you're watching us here at Salt of the Streets. If you're watching these videos later, YouTube, Salt of the Streets. We have our Facebook, Facebook at Salt of the Streets. We have our own personal social media. I'm at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Don on Instagram. Colin is a Big Bird Offie on both of those things. You can find all of this on saltofthestreets.com. This haircut was done several weeks ago by Swell Blended. I set up a new appointment yesterday.
Whoop, whoop.
So, obviously, I would recommend everybody go there. The shirt that Colin is wearing is
Was
from
there still openings on Friday?
this Friday?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, man. I got to get scheduled, though.
Yeah, just go on there. Go to the website.
It's so easy to do because you can just go to the website.
The shirt that Colin is wearing is from Location Skate Shop in downtown Bremerton, right next to the historic Roxy. It's fantastic. It's a great location. I went down there last week. You guys saw that. It was great.
I'm
Huge
going to go
fan.
down there next week.
Yeah. I think that we are going to try and set some things up with them. Maybe do a live podcast in store down there. That would be good. I was discussing that a
So
little bit with Ryan.
cool.
That would be nice. I will have some announcements for you guys with Swell Blended coming up here in the next few weeks.
Whoop, whoop.
So look out for that.
A lot of good things happening, bro.
Yes.
Big things.
Is there anything else that you want to slap into this here pre-show?
I do. Do you remember the great and powerful Neera Tanden?
Yes.
And she was put up for a cabinet position at one point, and
Yes.
then the Senate bashed her down.
Yes.
Well, she's getting a job in the cabinet anyways, except it's not a cabinet. She's going to become, or has become, a senior advisor to President Joe Biden at
For
the White
probably
House.
more money.
Oh, I'm
For
sure.
probably more money.
So regardless, she got in.
yeah, so just fuck it, right?
Yep.
Don't worry about all this shit that people on a bipartisan level were like, fuck Neera Tanden.
Yep.
We're just going to put her in anyway.
I wonder which.
God.
Must have been like maybe
just-
3 shows back. We were talking about 3 or 4 shows back. We were talking about her and explaining to everyone why she's so terrible. But yeah, I saw that come across the feed last night. I was like, oh, I think Donovan's gonna love this one. So yeah,
God.
the return of Neera Tanden. And I had another little fun fact for you. One of our great and powerful Washington State senators has been making some waves up on Capitol Hill. Senator Maria Cantwell.
Really?
Yeah, she's been involved with the funding of NASA and the space program and stuff like that. She got really upset that we did not, as a government, as a governmental agency, NASA took SpaceX's bid to put men on the moon again. And we had like $100 billion or something like that allocated like this, and they got a quote from Blue Origin, I think, that said, yeah, we could do it for $100 billion, this, that, and the other thing. And Tesla came in at like $2.9 billion. Like, we could totally do that. And so she's upset that NASA went with SpaceX. And so she's in there trying to add some extra funding into this NASA bill that they're doing.
So they can just do it themselves?
So that they can also hire people like Blue Origin or something like that to continue to develop a new
why
manned rover, because she's the senator from Washington
like
State.
For what reason should if they can do it arguably the best,
yes,
for the by far the least amount of money,
I don't think Blue Origin has that good of a track record.
Then why would we not? SpaceX is like, we'll just keep launching rockets. It's no big deal. We'll just keep continuing to be successful over here.
Yeah.
And it's no problem.
If you're getting quotes for $10 billion and somebody says I can do it easily for 2.9, I think I said 100 earlier. I think 100 billion is the overall spending in the bill.
I just don't understand.
I just think that maybe because she's from Washington and Bezos's companies are based out of Washington and Seattle. That's my guess, but that was a fun little tidbit piece of science.
Did you also see what's her name? Sawant. Last name is Sawant.
Sawant.
She's one of the city council members.
She's she's actually a congressperson now, I think. Sawant. Oh, I can't even spell that.
Something like that.
Sawant.
Kshama Sawant.
Yeah. Socialist Alternative Party.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. Seattle City Council.
Yeah,
For some reason, I thought she had a tie to the federal. But
so she's in trouble now for misusing city funds to help push the head tax bill.
Oh.
And I guess she said it's only. I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion because it's only like $4,000, but on a city level, $4,000 is a decent amount of money that she knowingly misspent, and for not years, because it hasn't been years since the head tax, but through all of this questioning, because it's been happening for a long time, excuse me, lied about it. I was like, no, I don't, as far as I know, it's on the up and up. Like, it's totally legit. And just recently, she had to admit that she absolutely knew that she had misspent the money. Yeah,
I remember something like that, seeing that come across the wire.
Yeah, so she's got to pay back like $4,000, and
Well, and it's on a city level. You say $4,000, it's not that much, but it's like $4,000 here, $5,000 here, $3,000 here, and next thing you know, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that's just squandered away into nothingness.
And the biggest thing is that it was used to help push an extremely controversial initiative that had to be repealed eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't actually end up getting passed in the end. So she blew $4,000 on something that the rest of the city was like, "Fuck you."
Yep.
So I saw her on an interview with Crystal Ball.
Yes.
On Rising. Just a few months ago.
Good old Crystal Ball.
She was outlining the Marxist tactics that they had used to, get the $15 minimum wage in Seattle and try and get the head tax done, and how that needed to be the way that, the Democratic Party got things done was through Marxist tactics.
That seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, for somebody from the
awesome.
Socialist Alternative Party. That
exactly
makes sense.
I think there's 3 people on the Seattle City Council that are socialists, like that. Their political party affiliation is some brand of socialism.
Because we have a few of them in Seattle.
It's like, if that doesn't concern you,
I don't know what does.
We got problems, might be. We just talked about Superman.
We just talked about Superman.
That's no good.
Oh, word. Well, I will just say this in closing. Apparently, BuzzFeed did some major digging, and they found. Actually, they didn't. They said after like a half hour of searching, they found Joe Biden's secret Venmo account.
Why the fuck does Joe Biden have a Venmo?
Exactly. And as soon as they contacted the White House to let them know that they could find it and like see all his friends and stuff, because you know how Venmo is like this open thing.
Yes.
They immediately
I
shut
hate
it down and hid everybody's friends. So you can't see the amount of money that people
what
are
it's for.
transacting.
Yeah.
They can. It
'Cause you
says
can't say
who
nothing.
and what it's for.
Yeah, on Venmo you have to say something, even
Yep.
if it's just one symbol or something. It's got to be for something.
Yep. So they were able to track that down, and then they had some screenshots all blurred out of whatever it was for. It was unsettling that the president of the United States doesn't realize that you can't have like a public Venmo account, dude. You can't do that as
I don't
president.
understand for what reason he would have a Venmo.
It's
like-
a great way to, transfer money to your friends and, do whatever you need to do. All I'm saying, maybe he's gonna send some money to Hunter Biden to go buy him a pop at the gas station on his way home or something.
If I'm the president and I have armed security all the time, I'm just rolling with a briefcase full of cash, just everywhere.
Oh, there you go.
That's just where I'm gonna go, like all the time, briefcase. I'm gonna have one Secret Service dude whose job it is keep a strong back, because you gotta carry the duffel bag full of cash everywhere I go. For what? In case I want to buy something. That's it. That's my whole year's salary in a duffel bag. You're gonna carry it with you in case I want to buy something. That's what you're gonna do. That's what I would do.
Yo, I gotta get in here and get a pack of gum.
What the fuck do I
Reach
need
in there.
Venmo for? Yeah, what the fuck do I need Venmo for? First of all, I'm the president. A bunch of people are gonna be giving me shit when I go places. Second of all, yeah, why am I not just giving someone a wad of cash? Like, that's crazy.
And I instantly just think, like, why would Joe Biden have a Venmo account? And then
Yes.
my mind starts going and going, oh, that's going to dark places. I mean, Venmo is just, how does that work? How much money can you hold in your Venmo account? What kind of transfers, raise flags, do any of them? It raises a lot of questions about Venmo to me.
I don't like that shit.
Me neither.
I don't like that he even has a Venmo account.
Right?
Obviously, I'm an American. Anyone can do whatever they want. That seems really fucking weird that the president has a Venmo account.
Yeah. So I thought that was fun. That's my last little side story.
Well,
here.
with that
Brought
fucking
up.
terrifying bit of news, just go ahead and let that sit with everyone. If you don't, man, I can't imagine not being disturbed by that. Like, that's
Right.
where I'm at, and it seems like it's such a just a meaningless, like,
Why did it
morsel
have
of
to be
information
BuzzFeed?
that it's almost
Why?
like a funny thing, you know?
Yes.
That it's like, oh, someone found Joe Biden's Venmo. Yeah, no, but you're like, wait, why the fuck does he have a Venmo in the first place? No, I can't. Okay, I can't. I'm very troubled by it. So
we'll leave it at that.
hopefully everyone understands where I'm coming from.
Oh, that's too.
With that, everyone have a fantastic weekend. What's today? Saturday already, duh,
Yee.
obviously. I just said it. We're going to talk about in the show coming up. We're going to be back. We're going to leave for just a few minutes, and we'll be right back here to do episode 108. Obviously, live. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to talk about Ron DeSantis and him rescinding some emergency orders in Florida and the way that compares and contrasts deeply with our state here and the country. We're going to be talking about the Tim Scott crime bill compared and contrast with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
Boom.
Actually, it's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
A TRIPS waiver, and then we're going to talk about Israel and Palestine, trying to get some understanding about this, some basic understanding, so that we can have some conversations, be prepared to have a conversation, and then maybe we'll make up our minds about something. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll find out.
We'll see what's up. With
Word.
that, yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you in a few minutes. I think that's it.
Peace.
Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you soon.